Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, my dear brothers and sisters. On your behalf, would like to welcome a friend of mine, a greater brother, Brother Mahmoud Al-Qasim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him. He is the IDRF CEO. So please, join me, Brother Mahmoud. And we're all welcoming a greater brother. He came all the way from UK to be with us. And it's an our honor that we have him with us. Dr. Mohamed Mustafa. He's a physician, I guess, emergency doctor, and actually our honor as he dedicated himself for a great cause, as he was lucky to be getting the chance to go multiple times inside Gaza as a first witness, as a person dedicated his life for this cause, and he put his life at risk in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he came from there for many stories, and we're happy to listen to some of that, inshallah, especially tomorrow from 6 to 9. And if you need more information, please meet Brother Ali Shahbarani. Will give you more information about tomorrow function. However, we'll get the chance today. We do not want to miss it to listen to his reminder. And we need to revive this, and not just sleep with it and we think everything's over. No, the suffering is still there, and many things we still can do and we should do. Brother Mahmoud will give you first.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. First and foremost, jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. As we heard, Dr. Mohamed Mustafa, he's living in Australia now, so he came all the way from Australia. But he had the opportunity, being one of the only 3 doctors that are actually from Gaza, that were allowed to enter and be in Gaza to serve the people, and he did it multiple times. For those of you who might have been following social media, he was one of the first doctors that really started to tell the story of the truth of what was happening to the hospitals and to the healthcare system. And for those of you who don't know, you can go on Instagram or other social media platforms and you can see his story, the beast from the Middle East. I know the name suits him, mashallah. He's an ex-professional rugby player who stopped doing that, went into medical career. He also, mashallah, found his wife and they got married. You'll hear that story potentially tomorrow on what happened and how that happened. But he didn't stop with just providing medical aid. We've realized that right now, the doctors are having to become also journalists. They are having to come back from the missions that they're doing and being witness to what they've seen and what's happening, because as we know, majority of the journalists are being killed and they're not able to continue sharing that story. So he decided after coming out of Gaza that he would advocate and speak and meet with all the politicians and everyone, because their voices as physicians who are on the front lines, saving lives every day and witnessing the bombings that were happening, he was able to continue with many different governments to put pressure on bringing proper health care to the people of Gaza. So inshallah, with that I introduce Dr. Mohamed Mustafa. Tomorrow we do have a program with the International Development and Relief Foundation. We'll have multiple other speakers as well. So please join us, and we will all be getting together for a great cause of supporting our brothers and sisters in Gaza. And inshallah tonight you get a chance to listen to our dear friend, Dr. Mohamed Mustafa. Jazakumullah khair.
Assalamu alaikum. That was a very flattering introduction. Right now in Gaza we have a ceasefire, and the ceasefire sometimes makes us feel like everything is okay in Gaza and we don't need to keep pushing as hard as we did when there wasn't a ceasefire. But when you're there in Gaza and the Israelis start bombing schools filled with women and children, and mothers are bringing their children in plastic bags, melted. And we have rooms in the emergency department that's just body parts for families to identify, because bodies are burnt 80 to 90%, heads are missing, limbs are missing. When people are pulled out of the rubble days later, barely alive, when paramedics are coming to the hospital and they're coming back and forth from an area that's been bombed, and when they stop coming and we ask them and they say the screams have stopped, those that were buried alive are now dead and we can't get to them. You know, you look at the news sometimes and we watch the far right dehumanize Palestinian people and talk about them like they are numbers and human shields. But we do it as well. Our community does it. Because we talk about the resilience of the Palestinian people and the people of Gaza. And we don't talk about their suffering. And the human experience isn't just resilience. It's also about the pain that they feel. No mother should have to bring her children in a plastic bag to the hospital. No husband has to identify his wife from her wedding ring. But this is the reality of Gaza, and this is the reality of what's going on. And just because there's a ceasefire right now doesn't mean that we stop. It means we have to keep going, because their lives matter and their stories matter. And that's why I've been traveling to tell their story. It's not their story about their resilience. It's also a story about their suffering, because to be human is to have that range of emotion. We can't let their resilience be our reason for apathy and lack of action. Islam is not about resistance, it's about justice. And justice means that we stand up for those people in Gaza. It doesn't mean we sit in awe of how they cling on to life in Gaza. It means that we have to be moved to fight for their justice and for their liberation. And to do that, it means that we have to come together as a community. And inshallah, tomorrow we will be speaking at our fundraising event. There's still a few tickets left. Please come along and support. Now is the time more than ever, because today it's Gaza and Sudan. Tomorrow we don't know where the next place will be. But we know that we have to be ready. As a community, as a Muslim ummah, we have to be ready. So, thank you for hearing me.
Jazakumullah khair. Dr. Mohamed, if anybody has questions, I know he likes to engage and answer any questions. So if you have any questions, please ask your questions, inshallah. And then I will make a small announcement after we finish. Is there any questions on his experience in Gaza? Okay, alhamdulillah. So tomorrow, inshallah, at 6 p.m., we will have a program at the Hellenic Banquet Center, 6 p.m. Sorry? On Southdale, inshallah. So if you haven't already purchased your tickets, please do come. We have a few left, inshallah. As you know, we had another speaker that was also going to be speaking at this event. And for those of you who've been following the news, he was with us in Vancouver, he was with us in Calgary, and just for the in-between for 2 days, he was scheduled to speak at CARE events in the US. And if you've been following the news of our brother Sami Hamdi, who was detained after being allowed to speak at one event in California, and then as traveling to Florida, he was abducted by ICE detention, and he was put into a detention center specifically for the reason of speaking against Israel, speaking against the atrocities, speaking against what the United States and other Western governments have been doing in enabling this genocide. So unfortunately, he will not be with us, but his message was very true, that do not let the advocacy and standing up for our brothers and sisters, be it in Gaza or Sudan, or anywhere in the world where there is suffering to get boring, because the oppressors never get bored of doing the same thing over and over and over again. They continue oppressing us. They continue following the same playbook. But when it comes to us, sometimes standing up for our brothers and sisters, we do it for a few months. We get energized. We get really riled up. We want to do something. But when the calm sets in, when the real time comes where we have to act and do more and apply more pressure and push our governments, push our community, that is when we go back into our comfort. So his message, which I want to share with all of you, was do not let the boring of getting on social media and posting about the rights of our brothers and sisters be something that's boring for you. Continue doing it, because it worked so well that now they decided that you need to buy TikTok so we can stop the messaging that is going out. It worked so well that many countries started to, for the preservation of their own seats, started to say, we will recognize Palestine. We will recognize that if Netanyahu ever lands anywhere in our countries, we're going to arrest him, that we're going to work towards a two-state solution. All this has worked, but we cannot stop there. It has this boring effort of continuously, for people every single weekend, doing protests and rallies and standing up and going to their MPs and speaking is working, because you have even our own Prime Minister now, last week or the week before, releasing that if Netanyahu comes to Canada, he will be arrested and tried at The Hague and sent back for upholding the ICJ standards. So as a community, we have to continue standing and not get bored of doing the same thing again and again and again and again, because it is making a difference. So inshallah, I wanted to convey that message because it was an important message which led to him being put into a detention center. But I'm sure it's not going to deter him. He has his hearing on November the 10th. There was already an injunction placed by the judge that what has happened is actually unlawful. So inshallah, maybe this will be a first precedent case of a person being wrongfully detained, and maybe inshallah something good comes out of it after. But I can promise you, as soon as he gets out, he will continue to keep doing the same advocacy for our brothers and sisters around the world. So remember him in your du'as as well, inshallah. And with that, I'll conclude. Do I hand it back to you, or do we finish? Okay, jazakumullah khair, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Jazakumullah khairan, inshallah. On your behalf, we'd like to really thank our speakers, and especially tomorrow, inshallah. Your presence is really important. And as you see how people are sacrificing their time and their life and their talent in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the noble cause, we should at least sacrifice a little and take them as an example. Like now, I'm sure Brother Sami Hamdi, despite that he's in that situation, imagine if he will hear that the event he was supposed to be there that was successful. I think that will boost his energy, and he will have more energy to fight all the oppression that happening not only in him personally but for the entire ummah. May Allah bless you all. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.